the bad side of it is that if you can worship and adore that's the bad side.
That's the bad side. But to find a way, a culturally, a scripturally accepted way to respect your ancestors every year is a very good way, a very good thing.
Yeah, only that some guys go to extreme. Our former prime minister died when?
Right. He died in November or
Which one was October. Up to today, I tell you the truth. You go to his grave, hundreds of guys are just coming, camping, worship. It is just like crazy.
Okay.
Including pastors.
Okay.
Groups of pastors are just coming to take 2 days, 1 day, la.
So what they do? What they do for these 2 days?
Coming morning and
just mourning the one who has died.
But how can you mourn for 2 days? What you do when you mourn? Okay.
It's a sign of respect.
There is something in our nation. It is becoming how to debate in Kenya. There are those who are opposed to it. There are those who agree on it. Especially when one dies during the time of mourning. There is candle writing.
Well, biblical mourning, there is biblical mourning, right? I would have to check the theology of mourning, but this is the time when we have the right to cry. We have the right to feel the loss, to grieve. Yeah, so there is nothing wrong in grieving after, but even in the, let us go to 1 Thessalonians. In 1 Thessalonians, where we have the guys who, because in 1 Thessalonians we have the situation where first Christians start to die. Okay? It's chapter 4, verse 13. And what it says. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 13. Someone can read it?
And inform brothers about those who are asleep, that you may not grieve as others do, who have no hope.
Okay, so the question is, there is nothing bad in grieving, but what is bad is grieving without hope. So when you lose your husband or your wife, because he dies or she dies, it's good to grieve, but it's bad to grieve without hope. So this is, I don't know how you do your burials, but in Poland we say this is good time to cry, because we've lost the one that we love. It was our father, our mother, our daughter, our brother, our whoever, and it's time to cry. But we should never cry as someone without hope, because we still have this time, we have still this hope that we will see again. So this is different to deny the right to grieve for someone because of hope. This is different. We have hope, but to respect the one that we've lost, we still should grieve, right?
Who are supposed to grieve? Is it the family?
All people who feel the loss. If you feel the loss, you are in grieving stage.
But in most cases in Kenya,
Yeah.
there are some friends who hire people to come and cry. Yes. And they are paid.
They come to them.
They are professional mourners.
Okay.
They are known as professional mourners.
I don't know. Maybe this is the same category as a coffin. You buy a coffin and you buy a guy who cries. I don't know.
That is their way of grieving
Yeah.
in the morning.
Yeah.
My issue was
Yeah. Yeah.
Candlelighting.
What?
Candlelighting.
It is
Candle lighting. So it depends on your theology of candle.
What's the theology behind it?
So it is about life, that the candle was full, as it goes, and then it dies.
So in Poland, candle simply means it represents my memory. So when I light the candle, it means I remember. So it depends. You know, the same things could mean various things in various cultures, right? It's not an offering. It's a way to show respect. I still remember you. I put the candle on your grave. Some guys put the stone, like Jewish people put the stone. But the stone, again, stone is stable. It does not change. So putting a stone means I remember.
But in some cases, some families,
Yes.
they just build a monument.
Yes.
Then on that monument, there are seats and the clothes of the deceased are placed there.
What there? What's there? Clothes.
Of the deceased.
Yeah. So
A hand.
okay. And why? Okay. Because the question is always why. Because if it expresses something that we could justify biblically, that's okay.
Those are practices, like from my community.
Yeah.
The people used to pour grains, windy things, a lot of things. Instead, they preserve this food for the family. You know, there are many ways of mourning, and some, the part that we discussed is about giving, that worship, that healing for the COVID. We worship God.
Yeah. But still, you should express, because I've heard once a sentence I really like. You cannot beat something with nothing.
Okay.
So the idea is, if you just remove part of something and you leave people with empty life, it will not work. So if you remove some tradition, you have to establish some tradition. So if you tell people, you can't just say to people, stop grieving. It's stupid, they will grieve. So if you remove some form of grieving, you should establish some new form of grieving, because you have to express the grief somehow. Right? So it could be a prayer, let's say a thanksgiving prayer in loving memory of the late this and this. And then you can ask 10 people to pray. A pastor, a brother, a neighbor. And people will just thank God for the life of this great person, right? Can you do it? You can do it. And that way you fill the gap. And then we can do a meal together in loving memory of this person. Can we do it? Yeah. We can do. And we can. So the idea is you cannot just remove things and expect people to be happy with that. You have to give them something in exchange. You have to establish some biblically sound practice that give them way to participate, because they want to participate. They want to express what they have in their hearts. If you give nothing, they will be going back to old ways. That's very simple.
So mourning has not been refused.
Yeah.
Only that we mourn with hope.
We mourn with hope.
And actually, Jesus wept.
Jesus wept after.
Cried.
Him in a few minutes, but he cried. Why? Because the loss was real. The loss is real, and if the loss is real, we have the right to grieve, right?
In group memorial, which words could be used?
Which words?
Yes, can be used.
Yeah, first of all, I would refer to the gift of God that this person was to the community, to family. Just respect this person, right? This person had God, so, and of course the question is whether they're Christians or not. That's another thing. Sometimes in Poland we are called to, to bury persons who are not Christians. So then we refer only to the reality they are created to the image of God. But still we can respect this person, right?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
What if my mother was a sorcerer? Should we remember her? Yeah.
As a mother, you should remember her. She was your mother. You should. God wants you to show respect to your mother.
So how should we know?
Yeah, she gave her life to raise you up.
And there is a job, it's a ministry here. And that's
And it does not mean. So if you are coming to your family and everyone knows she's a sorcerer, right? But you are a good son. You appear there. Maybe if they do some sacrifice, you do not participate. But you are present. And in the time, you request a time for yourself. And then you stood up and you say, "Oh no, I'm a minister of God. I'm a pastor. But let me tell you, even as you all know there are things we disagreed with my mom. But let me tell you how great impact she had on my life. And tell 3 beautiful stories how she served you. And then you can say, dear family, I agree with you fully. We've lost the great person. And I pray to God so often that she loved me the way she did. Can you do it?
But I think,
Okay, at least me as Polish person or as Polish Christians, I could do it. And people will see 2 things. First, I love my mother. Second, I connect with them. Third, I kept my Christian identity.
what lesson can we learn from this John chapter 4, verse 12, where Latin Jesus met with the Samaritan woman?
Mm-hmm.
Are you greater than our father Jacob, who gave us the well and drank from it himself, as well as his sons and his livestock? Jesus answered and said to her, whoever drinks this water will thirst again, but whoever drinks of the water that I give him will never thirst. But the waters that I shall give him will come in him a fountain of water springs up into everlasting life. Was Jesus not putting aside our ancestors for so that we may remember him alone?
I don't see hostility here to this well. What he just shows is that he's greater. He's greater than Jacob. Because she said, basically she said, look, this is very honorable well. And I don't think he says, this is not honorable well, but he says, I'm more honorable. So it's the same. I think, I don't think we are called to show disrespect to people, to ancestors. I don't think this is Christian calling. I think our calling is to show that Christ is better. And you have to be wise to balance those 2. Because, I follow some groups and some guys on internet who are in Africa and they say, we've lost our identity with Christianity. We should remove Christianity. And I see their point. Their point is, if you just show disrespect to the past, it's not helpful. Is it good apologetic? It's not good apologetic. But if you, as a Christian, are blessing to your community and you still respect your community, it's a good apologetic, isn't it? And you have to find your way to do it. I'm not wise enough to advise you. But my point is, you should make sure you show your respect to your community, somehow. And and show Christianity as a way for this community to flourish more. That's my perspective on being Polish and being a Christian. And the same, I think, could work here.
Is it good to bring coffee in the church?
Well, this is what we do in Poland. Nothing wrong with it, at least for us. What would be what will be the bad assumption here, or bad connotation with coffee in the church?
Pentecostal churches don't. Most of the Pentecostal churches don't.
Okay, but why? What's the reason behind it?
They claim Jesus was not brought in the church.
That Jesus was not what?
Was not brought in the house in the church. His coffin was not brought there.
That maybe the church is holier. This man has died now, so he has no part of the membership. We don't know.
Okay. In Europe, all churches, including Pentecostals,
I think it's
yeah,
a good time to bid him farewell.
yeah. I mean, why shall we not say goodbye? Yeah, in the church. Why? Yeah, this is what remained of the dead, and this is how we show respect to the dead. That we say,
When I said so, and he said,
yeah.
both of them.
It's not so. What we do, it's not a service like regular service, but this is the burial service. So the whole point of this service is to say farewell to this person in a Christian way.
But he was not saved.
If he was not saved, that we don't do it in the church, but we still do it in a Christian way. So what we do, we say, and it happens quite often, because many of our members, they have sometimes, or sometimes even people who maybe commit suicide. Catholics will not bury them. We will bury them. And the way we bury them, we just show respect to this person. Maybe we ask mother or father what this person was good at. So we just want to show respect just to this person as human. Today we gathered here to say goodbye to our beloved this and this. He was great, whatever, engineer, or, a shopkeeper or whatever. Many of you guys, you knew him from this place. We want to say goodbye. I am a pastor of the church. I was requested by family to help you with this tough decision. And then what I will do probably during the preaching, because I will still preach as a pastor, right? I would say, guys, I don't know this person fully. As far as I know, it was not a Christian. But I don't know fully. But anyway, let me share a word of encouragement and advice to us who are still alive. Yeah. And then I go to the preaching. Yeah. This is it. I don't need to, but I help this family in this hard moment, and they understand I'm a pastor, so they don't expect me to pretend not to be the pastor. But they are still happy I help them, because it is respectful that someone is leading the ceremony, that someone helps them to go through this process. And I could stay with them a little longer. I can even pray with them. I say, can I pray with you guys? Yeah, they of course they will be happy to pray with me. So you can use this time, and you can use this time to show to people that you are serving the community.
It's a great opportunity to show love, compassion.
Yeah.
Because this is human. Apart from hanging himself or taking the poison,
he's human. He was human.
And he needs to be given a permanent house.
Yes, and
that process, we have been given a mandate.
Yeah.
So please.
And especially in Poland, because Catholics don't want to bury such people. Imagine being a family of such person. You are burdened yourself because your son or daughter commits suicide. Your church says, No way, we will not bury. And then someone tell you, but there is this Protestant church, they will help you. So there is this pastor coming, you maybe never seen this pastor coming. Maybe you never know you have an evangelical church in your town. But this pastor is coming and he's helping you. Is it a good testimony or bad testimony? It's a very good testimony. And then you see all those guys coming to this burial and they say, who is this guy? And you should just introduce yourself. This is me. I was welcomed by the family. I want to help you in this tough situation. Let me be my best for you today. And you just do your job.
Last month I preached a sermon titled when the law meets the grace.
The law means the grace. Yeah.
When the law meets the grace.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And this is such kind of a context.
Yeah.
Where guys like you see the Catholics, they like glorifying themselves with salvation through works.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, salvation is by grace.
Mm-hmm.
And so even how you approach these things,
Yeah.
here it is actually grace
Yeah.
that is taking preeminence in that kind of a situation. Because with the law and the works, that kind of a person is an abomination. But even Jesus' ministry, where it was seen like this is an abomination, that is where he went.
Mm-hmm.
Look at his scenario with the adulterous woman who was found. You see, he just came in the name of the grace and things overturned. Even going to Zacchaeus' house.
Yeah.
You see,
Yeah.
to the people, the abomination never comes.
What about Judas?
You know.
He showed his grace to Judas, right? He knew what will happen with Judas. So I would say at the end of the day, I feel like, the community should see us as the guys who are blessing to the community. When we can win to prove that we are blessing to community, they could excuse us our Christian things that are not understandable for them. Maybe they could even listen more. Because at the end they are convinced by our respect and our love, right? What is better way to convince people to Christianity but through love and respect? Is there a better way? Is rejection better way? Is pride better way? Is sense of superiority better way? No.
So, in other words, when the Catholics say, if you killed yourself, then you are not going to our heaven, so we reject you.
Yeah.
It means now they have their heaven, they have their, their power, they have their power. And in that way, I think it's intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
And even the family will remain with a lot of questions.
Yeah.
This person, as much as he has been of help,
Yeah.
his life went haywire. Maybe there was something that was he never disclosed and ate him up.
Mm-hmm.
This is the time to stand with the family.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah.
One question.
Mm-hmm.
When Jesus said, "Let the young man," what was he doing?
Where?
We marry
Yes.
people who are not saved. We marry
Yes.
people who are not saved.
Yes.
But Jesus said, "Let the dead marry their own."
But this is a different context. The idea is there that Jesus is calling people to follow him, right? And one person said, let me bury my father, I think, or whoever was it.
I think the big one is the spread.
Yeah, so the idea here is, maybe we don't understand the context, and I think it's not the idea that you should not bury the people whom pass away. Because if that would be the idea, Paul would not write in First Thessalonians that we should grieve, right? So the idea is basically sometimes you have to choose. And sometimes even the burial is not the biggest priority. But it does not mean that normally we should not do it. The idea is, yeah.
Lunch.
This is the lunch? Okay, so let us finish maybe here with this big question. I think you understand it's a big challenge here. But let me just encourage you not to despise everything in the traditions. And second thing, don't believe that you can beat something with nothing. So once you remove something, think in a creative way how you could establish some new expression of proper attitude to the lost ones. Because there has to be something. Because people have right to grieve, people have right to show respect to their ancestors, and we as Church of Christ should give them ways to express it. And if we don't give it, we should not expect them to like us. And it's very obvious they will go to the old ways because they want to do it somehow anyway, right? So it's our neglect of our duty to fill the gap somehow. We should fill the gap. And if we are not doing it, it's not good. And we will go now to very interesting subject, I think, which is subject number 13.
The marker pen.
So, is it a good one? Okay. And this is...
There are more also in the box there.
Okay. Nephilim.
Where?
The giants. Yeah. So this is a very small passage, but very, I would say, very deep and with a big consequences. We find in Genesis chapter 6, from verse 1 to 4, one of the most enigmatic and debated passages in the Old Testament. Enigmatic means, you know, very mysterious. So it sits right before the flood narrative, and and it's really the interpretation could really change the way we look at many things. So let me just read it. When humankind began to multiply on the face of the earth and daughters were born to them, the sons of God, in Hebrew, Benecha Elohim, saw that the daughters of humankind were attractive, and they took wives for themselves from any they choose. Then Yahweh said, "My spirit shall not abide in humankind forever, for they are flesh. Their days shall be 120 years." And of course, you remember, before the length of the life of man was very long, right? And eventually, as Moses says, it is 70, and if, you know, the strength allows, 80. So even as we may be stretched right now a little more to 95, my grandma's sister, she's 95 now. So it could happen, but you know, it's rare. It's not very, very likely, generally.
I think since Moses wrote 70,
Yeah.
maybe the average lifespan is 45, 50, somewhere there.
It depends where, right? And it depends on many things like wars, like diseases, disasters. But generally, I would say if you keep yourself healthy, you should make it to 70. And sometimes 80. Okay? More or less. It's very general, of course. And you know, you understand it's a very general statement. So, but I don't know anyone, I've never heard about anyone who would be over 120, right? As God is declaring here. The Nephilim, and I will just explain the term in a moment. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God came into the daughters of humankind, who bore children to them. These were the mighty men who were of old, the men of renown. So they are called mighty men of renown, but at the end of the day, the main word that is used to describe those children of sons of God and woman is Nephilim, okay? Now, who are Nephilim? It's derived from the root nafal, which means to fall down, and it could mean the fallen ones, the one who fell down, like, wicked, but it could also mean that they are those who fall upon others, so those who are on the top. And from that perspective, they are the strong ones, they are the winners, in other words. And Septuagint, which is the first translation of Old Testament into Greek, and it was even done before the Christ time, they translated gigantes. And gigantes, the same word in English, giants, means giants. Okay? So and basically this is how we got giants in the word, and we have the concept of giants basically from this chapter. Now, who are Nephilim? Some people in the history of the church tried to explain it in a very naturalistic way, so without any supernatural aspect. And this is called the Setite view. And basically they said sons of God, they were just people from good lineage of the justice people of Seth. So Seth was like the main patriarch of this justly line, or we could say the line that obeyed God. And some of those guys were backsliding by taking as their wives people out of this line, right? The problem, though, is this is not really very helpful in helping us to explain this passage. Because as far as I know, if you backslide and you take someone who is not a Christian, you do not bore a giant. Mm-hmm. Have you observed it? No. So the idea is it's not logical. When you read the Bible, it does not. You have to really, do a strange gymnastic to push this idea that maybe they were not really giants, maybe they were really, but yeah, the idea here is they were giants. They were really exceedingly strong. Okay. So I sympathized with this view for a very long time, being born in Europe. And for me, the concept that actually angels could mix with men and born, giving birth to giants was so exotic that I refused to believe it. But I think this is what the Bible teaches at the end of the day. So whatever I find exotic or improbable has to agree with the text. So I don't really feel the Sethite view is good view. Another view is, and another argument, we will talk about it, Jude and Peter support in their allusions, in their letters, the supernatural view, that the Nephilim are the real giants, right? And they are the offspring of both sons of God and woman, okay? Now,
when we talk about the angels, I think one of the characters of angels is they are sexless.
How do we know it?
They don't. God created them billions of billions, so they don't like. They are.
So what it means that they found woman attractive? Explain it to me.
Do they give birth? Do angels give birth? Or maybe if they are fallen, I don't know. I'm curious.
Yeah, I'm curious. I understand. It's hard to. We touch very debatable passage, right? We touch a mystery in a way.
Let me ask you, in the case of Abraham,
Yeah.
the Bible says he saw 3 men
Yes.
watching,
Yeah.
and it turned out they were angels at the end of the day.
And God.
Yeah. So I know if someone comes and is a man, I will see he's a man, and a woman, I will see it's a woman.
That's what we call, I think we read about personification or anthropomorphism, something.
I think messengers, God, spiritual messengers could appear in the form of men. And by the way, this is what Hebrew says, isn't it? That if you are hospitable to people, you can host angels, not even knowing it. So the idea behind it is that angel could take a form of flesh. Okay? So, and by the way, I think the proof of this Hebrew text is actually the meeting that of Abraham. So the idea here is, and the author of Hebrews is using it to encourage us to be hospitable to others. And it's good encouragement, isn't it? You know, we even don't know maybe, and I know one sister, she said once she hosted a man, and the idea was she closed the door, and when she went to sleep, of course, with her husband to her place. Then in the morning, the door was opened and he disappeared, which is kind of interesting thing. Anyway,
I have a question.
yeah.
Are we concluding that the Son of Men are angels?
So this is the interpretation I believe is true. It's up to you how you conclude, but I think it finds support in the text itself, plus in Jude and in Peter. Okay?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
If there are the angels are sons of God.
Yes.
They are female.
Not angels, spiritual beings. Remember, in the class of spiritual being, angels is just small class, small part. Sons of God is another class in spiritual beings. And there is a class in spiritual beings that is called sons of God.
Now, my concern is for them to marry the daughters of men, where there are no daughters, where there are no female.
I don't know. It seems like they were just giants. But it's a tricky question. Very tricky, very interesting question. Yeah.
There are those who interpret the sons of God,
Mm-hmm.
the sons of Japheth.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I don't know where we are now.
Where we are?
It is so confusing.
Well, maybe it is confusing, but the idea is, I don't believe this interpretation is actually scriptural. I don't believe it. Because when you read the Bible, just read this passage. If we really understand it, that the godly men took, let's say, ungodly women as wives, then how the outcome biologically are the mighty men and the men of renown Nephilim? Explain it to me.
This must have been them.
You know, the most obvious interpretation when you read the text, even as it is so strange, and we have to agree it's very strange. It's very strange. But the idea is, when you combine angel and when you combine a woman, you actually end up with giant. It's simple. Although the outcome is very, very strange, isn't it? Okay? And this is the interpretation, by the way, that was later, and we will talk about it, that was represented in few books in the intertestamental period. And then when we see Peter and Jude, it seems like they agree with this idea. Okay? One more thing. I don't know if you've ever considered why in 1 Corinthians it is says that ladies should cover their heads because of angels. Okay? You know the verse? Okay, so I don't know what is your interpretation of it. Interpretation that I have find the most convincing, I'm not saying this is, it just convinced me the most, although it's still very strange. Okay? Is the interpretation that Paul is telling ladies in the church for their own benefit, do not be attracted to angels who are around. Cover your hair. Very practical point, isn't it? And what it assumes you can be attractive to an angel. And how he established it? If the interpretation is good, by Genesis chapter 6.
Okay, in Revelation,
Yeah.
John is writing to the churches.
Mm-hmm.
He's writing to the angel, to the church of
Yeah.
Ephesus.
Yes.
Does it have the same meaning of the angel represent the elders in the church?
Okay. And?
Ephesus, those 7 churches.
Yeah, but what is your point?
My point is, you are saying that the women were asked to cover their head because of angels.
I'm not. I just show you. This is one of the possible explanations. I'm not telling you this is what you are to believe. But when I struggled with this passage, because I had to preach it a few times, because we went through 1 Corinthians, and I had to explain it. Why on earth the reason Paul is given to cover for ladies their heads is because of angels. I understand other reasons he gives. But why because of angels?
Maybe according to the text,
Yeah.
was not meaning the heavenly angels.
No. He was meaning angels.
Bad boys.
Come on. Just don't invent reality, okay? Okay.
I was asking whether the Nephilim are connected with anarchy.
Yes, they were. By the way, one very interesting passage. In Jewish tradition, the best exorcist is who? David. Why? Because he killed the last giant, Goliath. The last. So for them, if someone has got the power, the exorcistic power, he was called the son of David. Now, if you go through Gospels, it's very interesting. The lady that has got problem with her daughter, I think, she called Jesus how? Son of David. Why on earth this lady is calling Messiah? If she would think that he is just the descendant of Messiah, of David, in the proper lineage, and that is all that she means, why she would expect Jesus to exorcise her daughter? You see?
But even Bartimaeus
Yeah.
uses the same
Yeah. Title.
Son of David, have mercy on
Yeah. So, son of David means you have the power to help me with my spiritual struggle with the demon. Why son of David why it is to mean that you have the power to perform exorcism? Because David killed the last giant. But if David killed the last giant, the giants are spiritual realities and not just backsliders. Okay? Yes.
We don't have now the children in the world.
We will go to it. I think we don't, but there is this small phrase.
I think
Just give me the Nephilim were on earth in those days and also afterward. Genesis chapter 6, verse 3. I don't think they are. I don't think. But if you would push me, can I have 100% certainty? No.
I think one of the approaches of interpretation,
Mm-hmm.
we have one that is called allegory.
Yeah, but this is history. It's not
Like
allegory.
proper spiritualism. Like David did not kill the last prophet, giant. If you read in the book of Psalms,
Mm-hmm.
there were men that David trusted.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the generals.
Yes.
And, Uriah was one of the generals.
Yes.
And there is another one who killed
Yes.
brother to Goliath.
Yes. But still, in the Jewish tradition, I'm telling you how Jewish interpreted their history. I'm not telling you this is the interpretation you have to follow. But if you think about how to choose proper interpretation, I think the best interpretation is the interpretation that do not violate the natural understanding of the text and explain as much text as possible. That would be my criteria. If I think which interpretation is the best, is the test that stay with the text and gives makes sense in over expressions of the same truth, right? So, I'm not telling you, just feel relaxed. If you have different opinion, Hakuna Shida. It's not dogma, it's a doctrine, right? We can have variety of perspective on angels. It's not necessary for salvation like the doctrines of Christ. But still, I would say, thinking about this passage, although it's very strange, I think it makes the most sense. Okay? Now, later biblical giants, we had biblical giant clans after the flood. And this is tricky. This is why I said at the end of the day, I don't know. I assume there are no. Anakim, Rephaim, Emim, Zamzumim in Deuteronomy and Joshua sometimes are linked back to this tradition, portraying Israel's conquest as ongoing victory over chaotic or rebellious forces to God. And there were those giants. And we know they had to face, like Caleb had to face giant tribe in his mountain, right? So but the question is, and this is an important question, and this is the solution to this question, what about giants after the flood? Maybe they were similar to those giants who were half human and half angelic, and this is how they bear the name giants, but at the end they were not giants in the same way. And maybe this is why they were called still the giant tribes, but they were not of the same descendants. So, Okay. And by the way, when we read about God's anger here in Genesis chapter 6, I see the reason why he's angry, right? Why he sees that people are all the time wicked, and eventually he decided to send the flood, right? It makes sense. It really makes sense. And all this mixture, all this situation, it really calls for such hard line, let's say, hard, solution. So, yeah. Anyway, this is what options we have in Genesis 6. Now, in Numbers 13:33, Israelite spies report seeing Nephilim again. Okay? In Canaan. And this is the problem. How we have Nephilim again? We don't know. We just don't know. But they report to see Nephilim in Canaan. And this is why they are so discouraged. And 10 of those spies, they say, we will not overcome. Right? But Joshua and Caleb, they said, no, we will. With God's help, we will. But this is what they've seen in Canaan. The Anakim are also tied to Rephaim, another giant-like group. And finally, we have Goliath in 1 Samuel. As I said, there are three interpretations. One is that, that there is similarity between those tribes and those original giants. And second one is that somehow those angels were still coming, but of course we know nothing about it. So it's only our, we don't know. At the end, we don't know. Okay, we will go to this Peter and Jude later, okay? But for now, I'm just telling you, I find it the most natural reading of the text, even as conclusions are very strange. Okay? Any questions or reflections?
Among the heavenly council,
Yes.
which type of them
Came down?
are hiding in the Tigris and Tigris River, who are believed to will make the war of Armageddon?
Could you repeat?
Which kind of the heavenly beings
Yes.
hiding in the river Tigris and Euphrates?
Tigris and Euphrates.
Yes.
He's saying that there are some among the heavenly council
Yes.
beings
Yes.
that they are hidden. They will do war in those two rivers, River
Oh,
Tigris
okay.
and River Euphrates.
I don't know. Yeah.
How is that related to angels?
Angels. He's saying there are some angels
Yes.
which will war in Armageddon. Is it Armageddon? You said Armageddon. That's the last war. It could be the war between the faithful and the I don't know.
Yeah.
But he's saying
But
these
some,
are these angels
yeah.
are hidden there.
Yeah, somehow it's related to the garden story, but with Revelation, we have to remember this is allegorical interpretation, because Revelation gives us pictures of Old Testament that we should understand spiritually and not necessarily physically. So this is why I think it's in the Revelation we should actually do we could use spiritual, but Genesis seems like history, basically. So maybe with some problems at the beginning with this garden story, but after the garden is just history, right?
I think there are four approaches when we are doing the book of Revelation. There's that idealistic, futuristic, historicity, and another one. There are four approaches. So if he has said the word allegory in simple terms is like most Pentecostal pastors would want to tell you, this is the revelation, hallelujah! Spiritualizing things that may be or may not be. And so that's why some of the texts, when we don't have a clear explanation, we spiritualize it. For example, Israel is becoming the church, Jesus is the bride.
Yeah, selling Jesus is the bride. We know he will not be our physical bride, right?
We are the bride.
But spiritually, he's our bride.
Yeah, bridegroom. And
Okay? Or someone, or you can say to someone, although I hope you will not say, you are a snake. It does not mean he's a snake physically, but spiritually he could be a snake, right? So this is how, yeah. Okay? Let us go to spiritual realm in the intertestamental period. So we already have learned from the New Testament introduction that there is about 400 years of what we call silence between Old Testament ending and New Testament starting. But this 400 years does not mean that nothing happens. People are still thinking about the Bible and they are writing their own books, and in those books they try to explain what they understand from Old Testament, right? And some of those books were very popular in Jesus' time. They were so popular that even apostles are using them, and they seem to agree with the interpretations that were offered in those books. So it does not mean that they are inspired books, because in those 400 years, I don't think there is any inspired book, but still I believe an apostle could be led by Holy Spirit to take one thing that he thinks is true from an uninspired book, but still very good book, and he says, look at this as an example. And this is how Peter and Jude are using the books that were written in intertestamental period. So what about angeology in that time? First of all, we have many details during that time. We have explanation of the evil spirits, the hierarchy of the evil spirit, and some eschatological perspective on evil spirits. So in that time, demonology developed really strong, those 400 years. So let us go to demonology. Now, in that time, very popular way of thinking about who are demons is that demons are disembodied spirits of the Nephilim. Okay, now listen carefully. It's not inspired view, but it's very common view in the Jesus time. Okay? And it explains few things. Like, why demons always in Gospels wanted to possess a body? Have you noticed it? Demons in Gospels want to possess a body. Why?
They cannot work without a body. They cannot work without a body.
Why?
A spiritual being.
So why spiritual being cannot be a body itself, like angels?
The way you are manufacturing it. The one that says, no matter the devil squares like a net of light. So he left to accomplish a task.
Yeah, but my point is, as we observe demons in New Testament, they have certain way of behaving, right? And now, in a way, we don't know why they behave it that way. But if, and I'm not saying you have to, I'm just giving it to you to consider. If we look at them as the spirits who need a flesh, to embody the flesh, it makes sense. They request, please, when Jesus, cast them out, give us even the flesh of pigs, right? Why? Well, somehow they need the body, right? And it's a mystery. So I don't want you to, please don't quote me that this is what I'm teaching you, that this is for sure. But I just find it at least agreeing with what I see in the Gospels, okay? I just find it agreeing with what I see and how the demons are operating in the Gospels. They want they want a flesh, they want a body. And they feel very, very bad without a body. Why? Do angels need a body? We don't read about angels that they need body. Okay? No. Angels can become a body very easily. When we read about messengers in Old Testament, it's not a big problem for them to appear as a man. But somehow demons can't do it. So why demons can't do it? Okay? It's interesting perspective.
I think they may also need a body, because in Hebrews 1:14, it says God turns them like ministering spirits and even fire, flames of fire.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they, our eyes, we are natural.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe because God, He will send angels, so that we can be able to hear and identify ourselves. So sometimes our eyes may open so that we see the real, it's like
Yeah.
a body, but
Yeah, but the problem is, I don't think, and I think you would agree with me, I have not seen any angel in New Testament that is taking control over a person. Like a demon can possess someone, right? That's my point. There is no analogy. Okay, angels can appear as a person, right? We established it. But this is them who appear as a person. They don't need a man to manifest. And with demons it's different. So the question is why it is so. So, yeah. Okay? Now, in the same time, in this intertestamental period, there is a huge hierarchy displayed under a chief figure, Mastema in Book of Jubilees, Beliar in Qumran text and testaments, Azazel in First Enoch. I'm not telling you this is truth, I'm just telling you what happened during that time. Detailed exorcism practices and incantations appeared in the Dead Sea Scrolls and later text. So also this idea, it became very popular during that time, that demons are not fallen angels, but the hybrid offspring of the Watchers, disembodied because they were judged. So they are just spirits in a search of body. Okay? But they are rebellious spirits, not just good spirits, but rebellious spirits in a search of body. This idea is not found in the canonical Old Testament. Genesis 6 itself says nothing about the fate of Nephilim spirits, and it's very important. Old Testament portrays evil spirits as under Yahweh's control, and it's never linked to Nephilim. But on the other hand, as I said, no Old Testament nor New Testament text rules out this interpretation. So it's up to us how we will interpret this reality that I told you about, that the demons appear in New Testament as spirits in search of a body to possess. And whatever way we will interpret it is up to us. And that's one of interpretation that is possible for us. I'm not telling you you have to do it, but this is one interpretation that we can have. Okay? And I'm still thinking about it. It's not like it's easy. It's not easy interpretation. But at least it explains the reality that I find in Gospels. So that's something. Okay. Okay, maybe, yeah. I will just skip some of things. You can read it, all those books from the intertestamental period. But let me go to Peter and Jude and First Enoch. First book of Enoch dramatically expands the account of Genesis 6 into a story of 200 watchers who descend to the earth, led by their leaders, Azazel or Semiaza. They took human wives, teach forbidden knowledge, and this forbidden knowledge is related to magic, is related to cosmetics, and is related to weapons. So it's kind of mixture of those things. They father giant offspring, whose violence fills the earth, and at the end, this is why Genesis 6 says, when God looks at, and this is what the Bible says in Genesis chapter 6, that God looked at man and he has seen that, verse 5, the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intention of the thoughts of his heart was only evil. You see, and again, even today we cannot say something about us like in the same way, right? I think it's a little more positive when we look at people. So they are judged and bound in prison. Those fallen angels, we would say fallen angels, basically, and until the final day of the judgment. And of course, this is what we find in the New Testament. The same idea, that angel is kept in the chain until final judgment. But it's already present here in First Enoch, the same concept. So, and their disembodied giant spirits became evil spirits or demons that afflicts humanity until final judgment. So this is the story that we find in First Enoch. Is it true? We don't know. But what we know that Peter and Jude allude to it. So let me read 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 19 and 20. 1 Peter chapter 3, (19 and 20). And I know it's a verse that when we preach, we try to avoid quite often. Let me start from verse 18, okay? For Christ also suffered once for sins, the righteous for the unrighteous, that he might bring us to God, being put to death in the flesh, but made alive in the spirit, in which he went and proclaimed to the spirits in prison. Where do we find in the Old Testament the history about spirits in prison? Nowhere. So where does Peter takes the idea of spirits in prison? Well, most possibly from First Enoch, because this is older book, right? Because they formerly did not obey, when God's patience waited in the days of Noah, while the ark was being prepared, in which a few, that is 8 persons, were brought safely through water. Okay? So many scholars link this to the same First Enoch tradition. In First Enoch or later divine figure proclaims judgment to the imprisoned watchers who disobeyed in Noah's time. Some interpret 1 Peter as Christ in the spirit, fulfilling the same role like Enoch, proclaiming victory or final condemnation to the fallen angels. In other words, what is Jesus doing here? He's coming to those spirits and he's saying, your judgment is sure. I have won. Okay? So this is not a direct quote, but this is use of the spirit in prison that we find in Enoch. We don't find spirit in prison in Old Testament. We don't find such concept like spirits in prison in Old Testament. So why Peter is telling about it, okay? Jude 14 and 15. It was also about, let us maybe read this. I have it here, but let me read from, or let me give you time to find it in your Bibles. Jude 14:15. Jude, letter of Jude, verse 14 and 15. It was also about these that Enoch, the 7th from Adam, prophesied, saying, behold, the Lord comes with 10,000 of his holy ones. Now, tell me where in the Old Testament we find the prophecy of Enoch, behold, the Lord comes with the 10,000 of his holy ones. Where? Nowhere.
No, nowhere.
Nowhere.
Maybe
Nowhere.
They must have read
Yeah.
from the Maccabees or from
From first Enoch.
or the book of Enoch.
And then to execute judgment on all and to convict all the ungodly of all their deeds of ungodliness that they have committed in such an ungodly way, and of all the harsh things that ungodly sinners have spoken against him. So this is a long verse where Jude is referring to something that we do not find in Old Testament. Why he is doing that? Because he is convinced it's true. Is it true? Of course it is true, because we agree Jude is inspired. So he is telling us the truth. But what source is he using? First Enoch. Okay? Okay, so basically what Jude presents here, he presents is as our argument against false teachers in the church. So he is using it as argument against false teachers in the church, and he is quoting this passage from First Enoch, assuming it is true. Okay? I know it's complicated. I know it could make you feel uneasy. Why inspired author is using not inspired source? But let me tell you, let me give you an example. Maybe you are preaching in your church and you see some proof from the Bible about, I don't know, just maybe some lesson about family. And then you are quoting a book that gives a good example of it. It does not mean this book, let's say you are inspired, okay? It does not mean that this book is inspired, but you as inspired author, you have the right to quote this book, right? Does it make sense? Or is it confusing? Kind of? Part. Pardon, yeah, go on. You pardon me or what? Okay, can I repeat? Okay, if you are an inspired author, you can quote whoever you like. Let me give you an example of Peter, okay? From Titus. This is the example that I like the most. In Titus, Paul is discussing the nature of Cretans. I'm very happy no one of us coming from Crete, right? As far as I know. So let us read from Titus chapter 1 from verse 10. For there are many who are insubordinate, empty talkers. And by the way, Titus is busy with very important thing. What he is to do? He is to appoint elders in every town. This is chapter 1, verse 5. This is the job he was assigned by Paul. He is on Crete. And he is appoint elders in every church, in every town, right? Now, the problem is those guys often do not qualify. And they are still very ambitious and they want to become elders. And Titus needs some encouragement and some rebuke. And this is why Paul is writing this letter to Titus. To press him up a bit, but also encourage him a bit. Because it's not easy when you have ambitious people who do not qualify to appoint elders, right? Because some of them will be very unhappy. And maybe you will have division in church. You can imagine it. It's not easy. But Paul is still telling him, this is the job I gave you. You have to finish it. It's not easy. And then he is talking about those people in Crete in that way. Let us read from verse 10. For there are many who are insubordinate, empty talkers and deceivers, especially those of the circumcision party, which means the Jews. They are Christians, but they think they are superior because they are circumcised. Okay? They must be silenced, since they are upsetting whole families by teaching for shameful gain what they ought not to teach. Now listen. One of the Cretans, a prophet of their own, said. Now, Paul is quoting a philosopher that comes from Crete. He's not a Christian. He's an ancient philosopher. But he describes the nature of Cretans. So let me read again, verse 12. One of the Cretans, a prophet of their own, said, Cretans are always liars, evil beasts, lazy gluttons. That's not the best description, most encouraging description. But what Paul says, this Timothy is true. So he's quoting a guy who is not even a Christian, but he says this guy is right. Those Cretans, they are troublemakers. And I know and I know Titus. I know this is tough, but you have to do it anyway. Bless you. So he's quoting someone who is not inspired, but is it true or not? It is true. So here we find again Jude, who is quoting the book of First Enoch. We don't claim that book of First Enoch is inspired, but this part at least that Jude is quoting is true. Okay?
I think the same is happening even today.
Mm-hmm.
Most so-called preachers,
Mm-hmm.
when they have a church, they get elders who are not saved.
Mm-hmm.
But what they consider mostly
Mm-hmm.
is if their pockets are heavy.
Yeah, this is why we have Titus. The problems are the same, right? We are not, we are not more mature than people in the first century, right? We have the same problems.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I have a concern.
Yes.
When you say Jude, it's as if we took that part from First Enoch.
Yes.
Does it mean the New Testament, commentators or others, depend on Old Testament? Because we have read that all the books in the Bible, those who wrote, they were inspired by God.
Mm-hmm.
So does it mean Jude was copying what was in the Old Testament or what?
No, he's copying from First Enoch. That is not in Old Testament.
I think one of the things you really need to get as a concept, that the Old Testament is a continuation of God's revelation. And therefore, if Jude, he says, I wanted to write about the common thing, salvation. And I feel that the Spirit is leading me to write to you about defending the faith. And maybe, as in the apologetics now, if he writes about defending the faith, he's giving Enoch as maybe an illustration. You see? But he's in line
with Old Testament.
As the Spirit was leading him. Because the Bible says in 2 Peter, where we read, men were carried. So if that testimony of First Enoch, the books that are called non-canonical, because there was a time that the Septuagint, he had said about the 70 people who sat and made a detail on which book that qualifies to be inspired, had an eyewitness, had the history, true authentic history. So those maybe when I cover First Enoch would have would have some hints, some criteria, but not as much as if they had it in that criterion. Maybe Enoch did not make it. And you know, like in the New Testament, we have the book of the Gospel according to Thomas. If you go to the online, you can read it. But maybe it never met the criteria. So there were many books. Like people are saying, First Corinthians, the First Corinthians was written and it got, I don't know whether it was burned or destroyed, and then it had to be rewritten. So the First Corinthians, the one we have First Corinthians, would be maybe the second. I don't know. And so there's that what we call criterion. So listen carefully as he talks about these concepts as they come out.
So basically, I would summarize it in that way. If you are inspired author, because Holy Spirit is leading you, you have the right to use any source. Okay? And I would say it's the same like even if you are a preacher. You can use an example from news. Can you use example from news? Yes. And it's good to use example from news. Now, if I mean, I'm not inspired, so maybe this news is wrong. And it's still I can use it. But if I'm inspired, then Holy Spirit will make sure that the news I use is true. Okay? So in the same way, we find Jude and Peter quoting First Enoch and one more book, I will show you in a moment. Why? Because they find it helpful to press the point they want to deliver to their message, in their message, right? But they are using a book that speaks about angeology, things we do not find in Old Testament. This is the development. They are based on the books that we were talking about, but this is development. This is something that we don't find in the Old Testament itself. It's like a commentary on the Old Testament, but Jude and Peter agrees this is a good interpretation. So we have to agree with them. Okay? Does it make sense or not much? Okay? So again, Jude 6 and 2 Peter 2:3. What they say? Jude says, "And the angels who did not keep their own position, but left their proper dwelling," what he refers to? Yeah, he has kept in eternal chains, in deepest darkness for the judgment of the great day. What event he refers to? We know he's using First Enoch. And in First Enoch, this is the event of Genesis 6. So God judged those sons of God or angels or whatever we call them because they came down for the bad reasons on the earth. They have not kept their own position, but left their proper dwelling. And this is why he has kept them in eternal chains, in deepness, darkness, for the judgment of the great day. Because of the event of what? Genesis 6. Okay? So, I know many Christians, not knowing First Enoch, what they think. They think this is the event when Satan decided to be disobedient to God. But if we know First Enoch, if we know Peter and Jude are quoting First Enoch, then we know it's very unlikely when they have positive attitude to this book that here they invent some new concept that is not in this book. Okay? Or not? I know it's late.
Excuse me, sir.
Okay.
I'm somewhat confused.
Yes.
If the books are the New Testament are 27,
Yes.
should we rely on those accounts which are not in the Bible?
Okay. We cannot treat them as inspired, right? Because they are not inspired. But we are faced with the challenge, aren't we? We see Jude and Peter quoting the same source. What is the source? The Book of Enoch. Read for yourself Book of Enoch. It's simple. You just go online, Google first Enoch, and you will read it for yourself. Now, as you will read the Book of Enoch for yourself, you will have your own conviction, not mine, but your own conviction. Is Peter and Jude quoting first Enoch or not? As you will come to your own conviction, is Peter and Jude quoting first Enoch or not, you can ask yourself how I am to interpret Jude 6. Okay? And Jude 6, verse 6 says, "And the angels who did not keep their own position but left their proper dwelling, he has kept in eternal chains in deepest darkness for the judgment of the great day." Now, we already established that Jude quotes once from first Enoch, right? Here, he is reflecting the concept that we find in the first Enoch, that the angels are judged by God. When and why?
They don't keep their position.
Because of Genesis 6. So imagine how likely it is that you are Jude, you are quoting positively as a reliable source first of Enoch, then you speak about the event that first Enoch also speaks about, but you mean very different idea. Is it likely or not? Are you with me? Or not? Imagine. Now, what Jude 6 says. Jude 6 says about event, right? The event is that God kept angels who did not keep their own position but left their proper dwelling. God kept them in eternal chains, in deepest darkness for the judgment of the great day. Okay? This is what Jude is telling us. Okay? By the way, he assumes we understand it, right? Do we understand what he's talking about? Not really. Is in the Old Testament such passage that is teaching about it? No. We don't find in Old Testament a passage that is teaching about. But who is teaching about it? First Enoch. And he is quoting it positively. He's quoting it as something we all should know. Because this book was well known. Is it well known today? No. And for many centuries it was not well known except in few places in the Middle East. Okay? So, right now we have to decide what event is Jude describing. What judgment of God over angels is he referring to? If we would not know that first Enoch exists, we could say, maybe this is the moment when Satan was judged and over angels with him, right? But as you read first Enoch, you will see what is first Enoch referring to by this description. To what judgment? Judgment of God, because those sons of God or powers or angels or whatever disobeyed him and came down to earth to do what we read in Genesis chapter 6. Okay? So, I hope I know it's not easy, but I hope at least you see what challenge do we have. Do we have a challenge? Yes? Yeah.
Okay, there's this concept even today.
Yes.
You can hear somebody saying, such a person has the spirit.
Yes.
And the spirit, wamemnyang'anya bibi.
Okay. What they do? Okay, okay, okay. I know nothing about it. Maybe. I don't know the concept of spiritual husband, so I'm sorry, I will not help you. This is new thing to me. Remember where I come from.
So, according to, in the book of Revelation,
Yes,
there is a hint
yes,
that there was a war
yes,
in heaven,
yes,
and then a quarter of the, a third, yeah, they use a third, yeah, a third of the angels who accompanied the devil
yes.
after the war, they were thrown to the
Abyss.
earth,
Yeah.
to the earth, and it says, oh, whoa, it's like, ole wao, yani, those
Okay.
who are to them who live here on earth. Could it be these are third?
Yeah.
Could they, if we are, maybe if we will spiritualize or we allegorize, could it be that these are third are the one who entered the daughters of men and made a generation that is having 6 fingers, 6 toes, gigantic, or how could this, the concept of gigantic, something like that?
So now, let me tell you, I changed my position a few years ago.
Okay.
For most of my life, I just felt safe with the safe Western position. It's not about angels. But but then I was confronted with First Enoch.
Yeah.
And I realized I cannot escape the reality that Peter and Jude is quoting First Enoch.
Yeah.
And in First Enoch, the judgment of the angels appears where? After what they did in Genesis chapter 6. So I am not in liberty to just say, oh, I don't care. I should care. I should care. And I have to change my position. I had to realize that if Jude and Peter is quoting from this book, it's very unlikely their perspective on the judgment of God comes from somewhere else. It's not possible. Okay? Because both of them are quoting this book as a reliable source. So it's really unlikely that they somehow suddenly change their source. No. So this is why I think this judgment that is referred to in 1 Peter and, 2 Peter and Jude is the judgment of God after Genesis chapter 6. What leads me to conclusion, I cannot escape supernatural interpretation of Genesis chapter 6.
So there are 2 approaches when we are interpreting. One is called synthetic. Synthetic approach is that you have read Peter and Jude.
Mm-hmm.
You have also have some source from Genesis and then First Enoch.
Yes.
So it is you synthesize and say maybe this one is. There's another. The second approach is called disjunctive.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the Pentecostals will say, if God has given us 66 books, then these other 14, the Toby, the Maccabees, 1, 2, we kind of like, they are not canonical.
I agree.
And therefore, we start to say, we don't know we don't care
Yeah.
until God gives us a revelation.
Yeah.
But so for this, to me, I think disjunctive can do me good because Enoch, like most of our Pentecostal Bibles, do not have these extra
Yeah.
books.
But first Enoch is not even in those extra books. The problem is it's not even in those books.
Okay.
It's not even there. It's not even there.
That's another problem.
It's just there. It's just a book.
It's just there. I wish
Yeah.
to read it.
Yeah.
Then I
What
will
you refer to deuterocanonical books.
yes.
But first Enoch is not a deuterocanonical book.
Or then I will take disjunctive because
But you cannot escape the reality, if you are a biblical scholar, that he is quoting first Enoch. I mean, you can close your eyes, of course. It's doable, you know. You can do it. But the reality is that I know he's quoting first Enoch. I know. Okay? It's not a mystery anymore. We find this book and we find these same words in Jude. So what he's quoting.
you know. So
And let's be honest. Let's not try to pretend we don't know. We know. Okay?
And also the same Jude is talking about, I have the authority to snatch them from
the fire.
fire.
Yeah. And by the way, the same Enoch, just to make it more complicated, he's quoting another book which is called Testament of Moses.
Snatching.
Yeah, Jude 9. But when the archangel Michael contended with the devil and disputed about the body of Moses. Come on, guys, where it is in Old Testament?
We are only told
Nowhere.
he was buried in a Pisgah.
That's it. That's it. We know nothing about. And he's just quoting it. He's just telling, when the archangel Michael contended with the devil and disputed about the body of Moses, he did not dare to bring a condemnation of slander against him, but said, let the Lord rebuke you.
And many people,
Jude, please tell me how you know it. Please tell me. I would like to agree with you, but I know nothing about it. I know nothing about it. Unless I read a very strange book called the Testament of Moses, and then I know.
you know, Mwalimu,
Yeah.
most of the people, most of the preachers, they talk about don't hunt you with the devil.
Okay.
Leave it
Yeah.
to the angel,
Yeah, which is,
according to Jude.
and this is good, and this is his point. And this is his point. Do not interfere. It's just leave the curse to the Lord Himself, or don't deal with them, right? Let me just read what Testament of Moses is telling about this event. The Assumption of Moses, or Testament of Moses, describes Michael arguing with Satan over body of Moses. And Satan claims, because Satan wants this body because Moses was a murderer, Exodus chapter 2, when he killed the Egyptian guy. But Michael refused to slander even the devil and defers to God. And this is very strange place. But what Jude is doing, Jude is confusing us. Okay? Quoting this thing, yeah?
Do demons belong to the sons of God?
Do demons what?
They belong to the sons of God.
I don't think so, but this is the interpretation, how we understand it. Because do we have the definition in the Bible of demon? We know demons are on the Satan side. This is all. We know they are evil spirits. Usually what we say, they are fallen angels. But give me one verse that tells us that the demon is the fallen angel? We know Satan is fallen angel. But what about demons? From my perspective, demons are evil spirits in search to occupy a body.
Yeah.
The origin of those demons, where is the origin?
This is a very good question. Bible does not speak about it.
They are children of Satan.
If you would claim this interpretation, how they became his children? Thus he can create more children.
What about Lucifer?
We will talk about it. But the problem is, you see, yeah, I mean, this is the problem. This is the problem. We have Jude, we have Peter. They are telling us they are giving us informations, but not quoting Old Testament, but quoting intertestamental sources. Okay, and that's it. And that's it. Okay, let me conclude because I know it's not easy. New Testament authors, especially Jude and Peter, treat those two traditions, Book of Enoch and the Testament of Moses, as reliable for illustration and warning. Can we repeat? Reliable for illustration and warning. This is why they use those two books. They don't want to invent new doctrine, and they assume the audience know those popular Jewish books. They were popular. It's like I would maybe refer to some, I don't know, who is the most quoted Christian in Kenya right now? Yeah, Christian author, the most well-known. Okay. Arthur Kitonga. Or maybe some song that every Kenyan knows, some Christian songs. Okay, so imagine, during the preaching, could you refer to such song or could you refer to an author everyone knows? You can refer, right? But imagine someone after 2,000 years is reading this quotation and he has no idea where it comes from. Now, you quote such person because you assume it will help to deliver your message to people, right? Now, after 2,000 years, it could actually confuse people. Okay? Because they don't know Katonga, or whatever you said. Kitonga. They don't know Kitonga after 2,000 years. With all due respect to Kitonga, after 2,000 years, all people forgot about him. Okay? But when you deliver your sermon today, it could be useful, isn't it? So the same Jude and Peter, they are quoting those two books. They assume those views are true. But now, after 2,000 years, we are confused. Because we don't know those books. Okay? But we have to deal somehow with it because this is still part of our Bible and we have to interpret it. Okay? So.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when we talk about Jude,
Mm-hmm.
during the time he was the brother of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Same from the same mother, but he was not saved during the time of Jesus.
You mean Jude, the author of Book of Jude?
Jude.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we don't know much about him. I don't want to go to details because I'm not prepared to it. But anyway, he's inspired author, right? So, and by the way, those two books, they are very challenging books. 2 Peter and Jude, if you really want to go deep. And why they are challenging? Because of those sources they are using. This is really hard to interpret, okay? Although I came through 2 Peter in my church, and I tried to do my best with explaining first Enoch, all of it, to my congregation. And at the end of the day, they were encouraged. But maybe because they have not seen everything that I had to went through to draw the conclusions. But anyway, this is part of angeology, okay? So we have to deal with it when we deal with angeology. Of course, I can leave it and not present it to you, but I assumed, guys, you are already prepared to talk about such stuff. Okay? So, I know it's not easy, but it's part of angeology. Okay, are we good with it?
What angel did Enoch turn into?
What?
Angel
Yes.
did Enoch turn into?
Saint Angel.
Saint Enoch.
Enoch, you see, Enoch was, we don't know, of course, much about Enoch from Old Testament, but we know one thing. He had not died, right?
Walked with God.
And this is what makes him so unique. And if you go to first Enoch, actually, those fallen angels, they request Enoch in this book, and I'm not telling this is the truth because we don't know. But those fallen angels, they request Enoch to mediate between them and God. And this is why it's the book of first Enoch, okay? And in a way, so in 2 Peter and in Jude, the idea is Christ came there and he said, your fate is done. That's it.
Is there a second Enoch?
Maybe. I don't know this book. It's very likely there is second Enoch.
First Enoch was, it is a book of Catholic Bible, you can find it there.
No. Catholic Bible have no first Enoch. They are different books, but not first Enoch. First Enoch and the Testament of Moses, they are out. No Christian church accept them as inspired. But still Jude and Peter is quoting them. And we have to deal with it. Okay?
Disjunctive. I go disjunctive way. The things that I cannot know and cannot come to my revelation, I leave it to God.
The secret
Very
things.
true.
But it's not secret. You can read it. Just go online and read.
Yeah.
I mean, you can try. From my perspective, let's imagine you discuss with an intelligible man that is talking about Christianity with you, and he says, "What about first Enoch?" And you just say, "I don't know." Will he be happy with your perspective on it? I think we should have our perspective on it because people, they say, "Come on, read it. It's accessible." And you know, I also follow some discussions on internet, and some Christians, they just refuse to talk on some things. Honor, with all due respect, I think we should deal with tough things. Who if not pastors should deal with such things? Who? Normal people? Anyway, okay. We still have some time. Let me go to Satan. The theme of Satan. The theme of Satan in the intertestamental period. And basically, as we said, in the Old Testament, Satan is not yet the main opposition to God, right? But in the intertestamental period, Satan becomes the second party. Of course, he's not so strong as God, but he is the main character. Okay? And when we come to New Testament again seems to assume this development of thought about Satan. Satan is different in Old Testament and in New. In New, he is the leader. In Old Testament, he's one among many, right? there are other spirits, and it's not so easy. But in New Testament, Satan is the main opposer of the devil, we could say.
Is it number 14?
It's number 14. Okay, let us finish here, because I think, we need to have fresh minds. Tomorrow we will continue, I think, in the afternoon with the New Testament. So we are ready to start New Testament, okay? Spiritual realm in the New Testament. Okay, thank you very much. Any questions, any reflections at the end?
Now, is there a difference between Satan and Lucifer?
Could you repeat, sorry?
Is there any difference
Yes.
between Satan
Yes.
and Lucifer?
No, Lucifer is one of the description of Satan, because it's a name.
Before and after. Maybe before and after.
Well,
Before Lucifer, after Satan.
yeah. The question, though, we will go tomorrow to Christian reading of two prophecies that usually are read as the origins of Satan. But the problem is those two interpretations, they are not present in Old Testament period. They are present after the New Testament. So I'm not saying they are wrong, but I'm saying it's not easy again. As I said, angeology is not easy. Thanks to God, we can be wrong on many things in angeology because they are not necessary for salvation, right? But, yeah.
Maybe I want to add something about when we are doing worship, there are African denominations which could even say, angels so and so we worship you. Angels
Wow.
are not worshipped. Those are some take-home maybe things to practice by. We don't worship angels. They are our servants. We can command them. We can assign them. So as believers, tunaweza watuma.
I'm not sure if we can command them. I don't think so, quite frankly. But
And then
yeah.
angels are, sometimes God uses them as ministers.
Yeah.
But they also desire this work that we were entrusted. They envy us that we were entrusted the treasure of preaching the gospel.
And angels are not redeemed, which is also very important.
Yeah.
So it's,
Their faith,
yeah.
Like Satan, this fate was already, so he cannot come back. Even those, so the 2/3, their fate is they are holy. And then a third, their fate is they are not holy, they will be destroyed. But to us, we still have opportunity. Many more. And so this gives me energy to preach to everybody, because man can be redeemed.
Yeah. And one more thing, we already started with that, and we will explore tomorrow, that we will judge the angels, because we are new divine council. Okay, remember? That Christians are called Son of God. And if we are called Son of God, what it means? We will be in the new heavenly council. Okay, so it's very highly positioned. It's probably higher than those angels that we will judge. Okay, tomorrow, God willing, we'll see how we will do it. We will do the victory of Christ, exorcisms, judging of angels. What else? Yeah, a few more subjects. Anyway, thank you very much. I hope, even as it's maybe a little confusing, it's encouraging for you, I hope. Because those subjects are usually not taught. So I just really want you to be taught all of the subjects, including spiritual realities. Okay? Someone could pray at the end, please.